So we're going to get started today with talking about circles. And I just want to kind of like jog your memory a little bit. For students that are doubling up and taking geometry, you probably have a little bit more fresh knowledge of this because we just came out of circles not that long ago. Otherwise, for us in trig, we did this, but this was in first semester, and this was in the very first chapter. So does anybody remember that if I have an equation like this, does anybody know what the radius of my circle would be? Do you remember how to do that? So this is right. This is going to be my radius position right here where the 9 is. And so we would square root that to find the radius. So the radius would have been 3. And then we talked about how you could find the vertex of that circle. So can anybody take a shot at what the vertex? Yes, 9, -2. Okay. So I don't know. Does anybody remember any of that from way back? No? Well, if not, we're going to review some of that fun stuff today. So the focus in geometry, again, was to be able to, pick apart this equation, figure out the vertex, figure out the radius. And again, geometry people have like, they just came out of that chapter, so that should be pretty fresh in their minds. So again, any circle is in that format of x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So that's kind of what we're going to particularly have. So the first thing we're going to focus on is just writing the equation of a circle that's going to satisfy these conditions. And we're going to go through that. And then we're going to go through 2 examples where we're going to have to kind of change the format a little bit and then be able to graph it. So there's not going to be a lot of examples. Why is there not a lot of examples? Because we've done this before, so we're hoping that you're starting to remember some of this lovely stuff before. And then tomorrow we'll get to ellipses. So the first thing is we have this equation, so can we write the equation of a circle where the center is 4, -4, and the radius is 3? And so you'd say, yes, I can do that. So this is h, this is k. So we're going to write x minus, what goes into place? 4 quantity squared plus y plus 4, because you're going to have a minus and a -4, so that's going to make a plus 4. And then equals my radius squared, and then we want to write 9. We don't want to write 3 squared. And then that's the answer. Done. Circles are one of the easiest conics to do. Very nice, very simple. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Next one. What if I have the equation? Can I break it apart again and then graph the circle? Because we're going to mostly focus on graphing for this particular part with the conics. So first thing we want to do is find the vertex of the circle. So the center. So I should probably say the word center instead of vertex because circle has a center. So we're going to have 1, -3. Correct. Next, we want to find the radius. So we have to take the 49, we have to square root that. And so yes, we're going to get 7. Okay, if we're going to graph this, what's the first thing we should do? Graph the center. So we're going to start putting in 1, -3. Okay, that goes in. And then do you remember how do we put in a radius of 7? Yep, we go 7 all directions, north, south, east, west. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you do your best to draw a circle. Not my best circle, but a lot. Okay. So that's actually where we've come from. We actually did 1 and 2 already this year. So it's not like life-shatteringly new stuff. So now, did you know that the next equation is also a circle? But what's different about it? It's not in the right format. So that's kind of what most of our problems are going to look like. So I kind of need to go through some of these things again, but it's kind of similar to when we did parabolas. So they kind of have that same idea. So what we're going to do is, remember how when we did parabolas, we separated the x's and put them on one side, separated the y's, put it on the other side. You're going to kind of do the same thing, except don't put them on other sides of the equal sign. We just want to kind of group them. So like, for example, I have an x squared. There isn't any other x squared. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Okay, plus we're going to have y squared minus the 4y. I'm going to keep those connected together. And then what did we normally do with this number when we were studying parabolas? Yes, so we're going to do that. We're going to put that on the other side. So I'm going to add 32, both sides. So that means that just becomes 32. Why did I leave a space here? Because eventually I'm going to complete the square. Correct. Awesome. So we're kind of, again, using the same skill. So we're going to have x squared, and then I'm going to have y squared minus 4y, and now we're going to complete the square. So cut the 4y negative in half and square it. So we'll get negative 4 cut in half, which would be negative 2, square it, 4. So I'm adding 4 to one side, so I have to add 4 to the other side. Okay, next we're going to have to factor. The x squared is fine. The y squared has to factor. So what does that factor to? Yep, y minus 2. And then, of course, add your 32 and 4 to get 36. Now, is it in the right format? Yes. So now we should be able to pick out what the vertex is. So, or center, I should say. So what is the center of my circle? The number's in the H position. 0, very good. What's in the K position? 2. So I'm going to go at 0, 2, put a dot. Okay, what is my radius of my circle? 6. And again, we're going to go 6 each direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then do your best job to make a circle. Okay, what do you think? All right, this concludes this podcast on circles.